powerful room. This is cool. All right, if you're digging down some notes, I recommend getting pen and paper out because I've got some goods to share with you guys here. Thank you for having me. Thank you for the invite and letting me crash in on branches only. And I feel kind of sneaky being at the end here. So write down the number 50, 50. 50. I don't know if this has been covered or not. Obviously, I just got here, pulled in the garage like 15 minutes ago. That's how many days until opening day. 50 days until opening day. And my message is going to be geared very directly towards, the title is Taking Your Branch to the Next Level. In particular, what you can do from now until April 7th. And getting your mentality right, getting your actions right, and helping you guys create an exciting summer. So I've got 4 points. I'll get to them in a second. But my quick branch story here, I was a sales rep in 2010. I was 20 years old. I was a personal recruit. I was a 40K rep my first summer, scholarship winner, and loved being a sales rep. It was awesome. I thought there was nothing better than being a sales rep. Made some great income, and the way the pay structure set up then, I hit 50%, and being at college making 50%, so those of you guys that are at 30, 40, 45, maybe 50% if you branched last summer, it's sick and wrong in all the right ways. And then I found out that there was more to being in a leadership role with Vector, being a branch manager. I made a decision. I think it was probably 2011. It was that like January program where I'm like, if I'm going to do this, like I only get 4 months, I might as well rip it. I don't think I'm going to be with Vector long term. That's what I was thinking when I was going to be a branch manager. But I thought if I'm going to be here, I'm going to be remembered. And 7 years later, we are still talking about that branch summer, and that's really cool to think about. So here's some of the numbers. So I've been with the company for 9 months when I opened up my office in, I guess technically April of 2011. We recruited, write this down, 232 people as a branch manager, which is totally not normal. And yeah, Carson, 232 people, and 132 of those personal recruits. 132 were PRs, and from that summer, we were the number 10 office in the nation, number 2 branch in the region, number 1 new branch office, like somebody that's running their first office in the company that summertime. We were, let's see, we created 5 branch managers from that summer, 1 senior branch manager, 10 assistant managers, and 2 CSPs from that branch office. And I firmly believe it was from the stuff I did from roughly J-Pro until opening day. That's when the champions are made during the summertime. The stuff we find out in like June, July, paychecks in August and all that stuff, it's just what happened in the off season. I've got 4 keys here, and I'll give you the 4 keys first, and then I'll dive into each one, so that way I respect my time and everything here. But the first key, Jeff just touched on it, recruiting. And I'm gonna dig into that in particular, leading up to our liftoff seminar. The second one, I'm gonna talk about why now matters and seizing each day over the next 50 days. The third thing is taking ownership and being solution oriented, not a victim. And then the fourth and final one is commitment and following through. So as far as recruiting goes, so we launched 232 people as a branch, and I was in the same territory the previous summer. There was an office there, and that manager had been there for 3 years, district manager, and he never broke 100 recruits in a summer. So you'll hear this over and over again over the next 6 weeks, 10 weeks, 20 weeks. That is not the territory, it is the manager, and your territory 100% dictates your the strategy, how you go into it, for sure. Not going to argue that, but it does not determine your success at all. So if you have an awesome territory, good for you. You did a great job. That's the situation I was in. Doesn't matter right now. Does not matter. All right? Your great territory only means something if you go and deal with it. Just like if you got a great list of prospects to go sell to, if you don't make any phone calls, like that doesn't matter. I'll give you some stats right now. So as a district manager, we're the number 1 recruiting office in the company right now, year to date. Number 1 personal recruiting office in Vector, and just came from a training with 8 recruits in it. And Jenna with the bomb 5 for 8 show to training, all PRs, and dude, her people in training are like, they're like you guys, caliber people. I'm sitting there like, I could have a branch manager in this training group, so it's exciting. Facebook Jumpstart, PRs, campus, always focus on what you can control and what you can influence. Like, web and Craigslist is fantastic. I can only influence once they're in the door with deciding, cool, am I going to keep this person or not? But if those didn't exist, would you have an office? Yes. All right? And nobody's going to sit there and be like, you know what? The key to my brain summer was my Craigslist touches. That's where I was at. I really lived my web. Those ads that the company placed for me, that was the key. But check this out. When we opened up in 2011, we didn't have all the tools that everybody's got now. We were kind of blunt force, shotgun approach. We did not have Facebook Jumpstart. I did not have like a whole pool of old PRs to shoot out a text message in an instant. You could text message 1,000, 10,000 people, whatever. It was literally just all campus, and then the interview PRs from those recruits. We had 49 set for our liftoff training seminar, 14 show, 9 launch. We were the #1 office in the nation that first week, and it was only like a 4K report or whatever, but like in the Midwest region, we always have an advantage on a lot of the West Coast schools and stuff, because they get out in like, I don't know, like September or something for the summer, and like they got out super late. And he was like, what, really? No, not really. But they started our PR train for the summertime, and you got to start somewhere. And those 9 launched. One of them was a 7K fast starter, Nick Williams. Was with me all summer. He just got married 2 summers ago, which is still in touch with Nick. And so how many can you get in that day 1 seminar and focus on the recruiting sources that you can influence? So that's the first key. The second, and third, and fourth kind of all go under that recruiting umbrella, but with your mentality and your focus over the next 50 days and then leading into the summer. But you can write down Carpe Diem with number 2, that now matters. Those of you guys that are Latin speakers, means seize the day. So just by being here, like making the decision to be here, that is a win, in my opinion. Like, you won the day already just by showing up and being on time and being present here. And I've heard the phrase that you don't have to be great to get started, but you got to start in order to be great. And I think it was Scotty that posted this like on Facebook after one of our I think it was the Olean conference a couple years back, and he quoted, it was a Jake Dougherty quote, so I forever will quote myself for this, that good things definitely do come to those that wait, and I completely disagree with that good things come to those who create. And 100% of our success now, my branch summer, probably in the whole history of Vector Marketing, comes to people that create and don't sit around and wait for things to happen. And one thing I also know that's true as a sales rep, as a branch manager, as a DM, a DVM, all the way through the company, is that the longer you wait for something to happen, the harder it gets to get it moving. So by getting ahead of things right now with something as simple as like clicking friend over and over again on your phone, like while you're like half asleep in bed, and adding these names into your Facebook Jumpstart, like that is like one of the easiest things you're gonna do for the whole summertime. But if you approach that lackadaisical, like, oh, I got time, that's the exact same thing you're gonna do with your office search. You're gonna do that with getting your lease done. You're gonna be the branch manager that's sitting there May 5th and you're like, oh no, I need to get an office. And you're gonna be in like total panic mode, but it's because of the decisions you made on February 16th. Getting out of finals early, approaching and attacking all the assignments and the challenges that you have now. And I also believe that now affects later, and how you do anything is how you do everything. So simple things that I started doing as a branch man, I remember like just waking up earlier. And earlier meant like instead of waking up at noon on a day I had like afternoon classes, like I woke up at 11. And you slowly progress to getting good habits in. I made my bed every day. And then you're like, oh, you made your bed, like that helped you recruit 230 people? Sure did. Journaling, writing notes in this meeting, taking notes in class. Your personal sales. You know, a lot of branch managers this phase are like, ooh, personal sales. Like, yeah, you're going to be selling 50% this summer. Keep selling now. Get to as high levels as you can. You can never have too much. Like the answer, like all your managers probably tell you, like, how much should I have saved by the summer? Like, more is the answer. Like, more. You can never have too much saved. Savings is not just like how much you're selling, but how much you're keeping. Some of you guys might be having some spring break plans. I encourage you not to drop $1,000 while you're like on spring break. That's not the place to have a grand day. Getting ahead on your assignments, like now really affects later. And in your territory, they deserve it. All right, your territory deserves you to give their best. And there's that one recruit that needs you. There's that one Facebook Jumpstart person that needs your positive influence in their life. They need you as the leader to recruit them. They don't know they need a job yet. They don't even know they need Vector. But I know every single person in this room can agree with me that you did need Vector. And if it wasn't for that manager that recruited you, you wouldn't be here right now. And then you think about what cool stories can you create. Memorial Day weekend, all that stuff, it happens now. I got time for a story. So I want you to imagine that you're like running your office, right? And you go run your interview, and you come out of the group interview, there's this dude sitting there, like in your waiting area. You don't have an assistant manager, so you know this person was there. It's Jeff Brock. This is a true story from my brain. So I remember coming out, I'm like, are you here for an interview? I was just kidding around with him, and I had 18 people in for that interview right there. Like, that's the way you want Jeff Brock to show up to your office, or your district manager, your division manager. You don't want to be like walking out of the interview and you had just like completely like half-assed an interview and there was like a person in there, like May week 5, and you're like, hey, Mr. Brian, how's it going? He's like, big group in there, huh? You're like, yeah, we're running out of copies left and right. It's crazy. I remember like he like literally sat there and waited while I posted 18 people, and then we got some quick time. He was just passing through on his way, I think, to visit another office, and that was super cool. That week's training cycle was when, I won't go into full details, some of you guys probably heard this, but it's when I bought my Porsche during my welcome talk. Don't do that. Look, I just don't buy a Porsche, but still great memories. That training group had 2 branch managers in it, so maybe you should do that. All right, number three, and this is a big mentality shift for probably nobody in this room as far as hearing this, but you got to take ownership and you got to have a find-a-way mentality. So your territory, again, does not dictate your success, but recruiting is something that you do for your organization. It's a badge of honor. To be on I was on a divisions conference call yesterday morning, and I'm like totally intimidated. I've been around for 8 years now, and I'm talking to 3 Hall of Famers. You know, when you do that like Vector fanboy thing where you're like, oh my gosh, like I'm gonna be talking to Case Heinrichs and Chris McLeod, and oh my gosh, Danny Lewis is running this call, and I got to talk to them about recruiting yesterday morning, and it makes you reaffirm all the things that you're doing, and it's this really big badge of honor. I didn't even know that we were the #1 office in the nation so far campaign today until like he like screen shares and shows like the report, like top it into overall recruits, top in PRs, and we're at like 79 launched so far for the campaign, and like that is like summer type things for some of you guys. And my goal in our office is to create things right now that don't make any sense in February, to where our people are seeing. So like Jenna's able to see like, oh cool, like Jake left and I was able to create this $12,000 new business week in the middle of February when nobody's looking for work and should be looking for work. We have like very limited touches coming in that aren't 100% created by us, from campus, from PRs, from interview PRs, Facebook stuff, and get a chance to see that and taking ownership and making the reality happen. That's what we do as managers. And I think one of the exercises you're going to do at some point is talk about what you're building. And I think about, like, that was one of the biggest catalysts for our April, was talking about and taking ownership. Like, this is my office. This is our organization. This is what we're going to be about. I talked about the passion that we were going to be about. And passion's one of those things that, like, you can't just, like, say, like, yeah, we're passionate. Like, they got to feel it. Like, that's something that you can't just, like, turn on the switch this summertime. It's something you got to start visualizing, start creating from now until then. Painting the vision. What's it going to feel like? What's it going to sound like? What's it going to look like? And then that conviction. Chris Heigl always tells us that the eyes don't lie, and your people will be able to see, like, if you are firmly convicted where you're at. And you can't do that without experience. You can't do that without having everything going forward. So where could you get the experience? Well, the next 50 days, what could you be doing in your district office? What could you be doing with your manager? Do you have to be told to do something? Or are you like, no, like, this is my branch office right now in this organization. Tina Marie, what can I do? Or Scotty Brown, what can I be doing right now in this office? I want more ownership right now. I doubt they're going to be like, well, I don't know, we're going to be in Munich, like, we don't need any leaders in the office. I don't really want extra help. Like, we're all set here. That's obviously not what's going to happen. And then the fourth and final tip is the most important when it funnels back into recruiting. It's just commitment. And we always talk about commitment being success with our sales reps in the welcome talk. And it doesn't stop once you become a branch manager. It's more critical, it's more important. And I remember Chris Hammond telling us at one of our management breakouts, he talked about commitment, how 99% was a female dog, you can put the right word in there, was a, yeah. And 100% is a breeze, and it truly is, because then you don't have to negotiate with yourself. You don't have to wake up in the morning, you're like, bed or create the summer of my dreams. Bed or get that workout done. And Robert was talking about getting up, get his morning workout in, great hair day. I have those every day. And you won't have to negotiate with figuring things out. And the one thing that happens when you commit, like crazy things happen that are kind of even beyond what your vision would be. We had, I think it was 22 in day one 2 weeks ago. And like that is like mid-June stuff. Like this isn't probably positive, it's positive. Like we recruited almost as many people in the last like 4 weeks as we did in June last year. And it's not because we had a really bad June, it's because we've had a really exciting spring, and that momentum keeps going. It's really easy to show up to the office when I'm like, oh cool, we have 39 people set for training on February 1st. Like that's easy to wake up to, and once that commitment's there, you follow through. I will share with you guys the craziest day I had as a branch manager. You would think you'd be very exhausted and overwhelmed when this happened, and I definitely was overwhelmed in the moment, but looking back on it, it was like one of the coolest days of my Vector career. So I've had big sales days as reps. I think my biggest paycheck as a sales rep, including like when you get your bonus at the end of the month, was like over $12,000. Like that's probably a little bit inappropriate for a 21-year-old college student to make, but I was cool with it. I didn't ask them to take it back. But this was probably the craziest day as a manager I ever had that like really opened my eyes to what you can really create in an office. We had 100 plus people walk through my door on one Thursday. Like, think about that. Like 100 people walking in and out of your door, just all because of you. When I first opened the door, April, I think, 8th, right after opening day, I went straight to my office. I did the right things. I got out of finals early. I had everything set up. My lease was ready to go. I had my advertising out. We had people set for interviews. And then by June week 3, we had this day as a Thursday, and we had 54 people on day 1 of training. And wasn't the smartest branch manager, so I put together like all those sample kits like before training started by myself. Like, so Wednesday night was a late night, but yeah, I don't recommend doing that. But 54 people on day 1 in a training room that was probably this same size. But like if you take that pillar and cut it over and then go straight at Nick there, so it was like this awkward L shape. Like there were at least 10 people that were sitting like down this row here that couldn't see my TV over here. It was super hot in there. There was this one kid like right in the middle that like we had the rows all close together. I take my desk out of the room and like he had to go to the bathroom like right in the middle of my welcome talk. He's like, "Can I get out? I just need to." I'm like, "Sit." Not ruining my mode. Like I was in the zone. So I finished training and I go to an interview. And my interview's right afterwards. There were 29 people in for that interview, and I didn't have a second man. I didn't have like a receptionist or an assistant manager and like that. Probably could have been handled better, but rocked that interview. It runs long, and this is back when we had like 17-hour interviews, which was fun. And I remember going right after that. I go into my team meeting area, and there's 35 people in for a team meeting. I'm just like, whoa. So easy to have some energy at that point. I'm running on like total fumes and passion for our people. We have a great team meeting. We go out for team night. And I remember sitting there at Steak and Shake at like 1:15 in the morning. Don't stay out that late for team night. And I'm just like looking around and I can't like stop smiling. They're like, "Why are you smiling so much?" I'm like, dude, what a day. They're like, "What just happened?" I'm like, no idea. They're like, we got introduced to training. Like there were like 30 people in there. I was like, I think it was 54. Like, 54? Oh my gosh. I'm like, yeah, you guys better sell this weekend or I'm not going to be in a room with you guys and take back those kits. But summer 2018 champions are created in February. They're created in March. They're created in April. And I'll leave you guys here with my last couple minutes here with my pro tips. These are like total executive DM pro tips here for you guys. Looking back on my branch manager summer and things that I was glad I did, things I wish I would have done better, and there are 3 quick pro tips, but I think they will really help serve you guys well over the next 50 days. You know, you're thinking about dinner, it's close, but these are
Tips first.
these are good. Ready, please? Oh, my alarm changed at 5 minutes left. Another pro tip, set an alarm so when you got 5 minutes left in your talk, you don't go over, especially for dinner. Pro tip 1, protect your sphere of influence. So that is something you are fully in control over. I'm not saying like, if you've got like 3 idiots that you live with right now, you're like, you guys gotta move out until after the summer, like you guys gotta stay outside or something. But like be very intentional about who you spend your time with. I'd say people in this room would be a good start. And then everybody else, people where you want to get to. So I wrote down your DM, your division manager, protecting your time, positive people, and people that are going to help hold you accountable to what you want to create. So sharing your goals with them, and your sphere of influence is what you'll be this summertime. So misery loves company, so does success. And so when you surround yourself with people that are where you want to be and you have like goals and like-minded, it's a lot easier to do the right things when nobody's watching, because I assure you over the next 50 days, aside from your manager, like nobody's going to see on the sales report what you're doing, but we'll find out in June. We'll see what's going on May week 1. We'll see in August when we're at Kalahari for the 2nd time who created the things that they wanted this summertime, and your sphere of influence.
Better be good, keep going.
Somebody, I want my sphere of influence right there. How are you? Good. What you got going on? All right, that's excited. Number 2, I learned this from Silver Cup branch manager, the last Silver Cup BM that we had in the region, Lexi Osting, is you want to visualize your summer. All right, you don't think Michael Jordan watched that Game 6 jumper go in over and over and over in his head before it happened? Athletes do it. All right, Shaun White, I guarantee, walked through that gold medal run over and over and over again before he did it. Same thing with musicians, same thing with actors and actresses, business people. Every single thing that you want to happen this summer, walk through in your head over and over again. Before you go to bed at night, jot down some stuff in your notes, be like, what do I want to create? How many bow ties do you want in day 1 of training? Like May week 1, like that bow tie, like that's at least a 5K fast starter. Like how many people do you want to train like athletes? Like how many people do you want sharper than you, where you at as a sales rep in front of you in day 1? Visualize what our team night's going to be like. All right, what are the themes going to be? What's it going to feel like when you're giving your first division meeting push report? What's that crew going to look like? What's it going to feel like organizing rides, like to get to that first conference? And you're like, crap, we're going to need 8 drivers. Like, is that a thing? Do we have 8 kids that have cars on the team? Like, is that something that we can do here? And when you visualize this stuff happening, it's just a matter of, okay, it's not if this is going to happen, it's just you guys are going to find out later on, you'll see it, and then it's so easy to give your what you're building message. And then the third and final thing is that this group is not the group of people that any of your managers should have to worry about getting done with your assignments. Like, I should be like, hey, Anthony, we got this thing going on here. It's called Facebook Jumpstart. It's really nice. I don't know if you've heard of it, but you might want to like add some people. And some of you guys are way ahead of things. But think about like everything that you've got going on from now until opening day. How soon can you get some of that stuff done? All right, can you get to 1,000 already? Some of you guys are at 1,500, almost 2K. Like, how quick can you get to your next benchmark? How many assignments can you get done ahead of time with your classes to where then when it's go time, like you're not sitting there going, oh, division manager, I'd love to go recruit, but I got a paper. Like that is like such weak sauce. And all of you guys can get this stuff done ahead of time. Your office searches, your leases, your move-in dates, your fully engaged dates, getting the stuff done all ahead of time. That way, when it's go time, we already know the bullets are coming. All right, it's going to get crazy in the summer. Stop that, I'm talking. And are you dying? Maybe. I know I kill you guys, but come on. But how much stuff can you get done ahead of time? That way, when those obstacles do come, when the power goes out, when you're in the middle of training, when you've got that person that doesn't show up that's supposed to follow through on second-minute interview, or you have that top rep on your team quit, are you going to be able to handle that stuff because you were able to handle things on your end ahead of time? And I remember leaving opening day, having like nothing on my plate except running my branch office. And on April 8th, I didn't know it at the time, but because of what I'd done over the 50 days leading up to the conference, I was able to go to my territory, run my first interview, and little did I know that first recruiting cycle that I was back in my territory, Peter Kai was one of the people who walked in for my interview, and he was like that really awesome rep that you got to recruit and send him for training like 8 weeks later. Like, oh, he's definitely showing up. He showed up to training, and he said, like, at the end of summer, he goes, why were you so surprised when I showed up to training? He's like, your eyes got real big, and you're like, who are you? And I was like, well, it's really normal for somebody to show up 8 weeks later. But he was then our top rep that summertime. I recruited him, I think it was like April 12th. He had FSM, assistant manager in 2012, branch manager in 2013, and his name is still on my wall in my office for the most names on names list in training. Like, he still holds that record, and you really got to go out there and knock out the stuff that you can do ahead of time, surround yourself with the right people, visualize the summertime, and summer 2018 is here. Let's attack it.